Hello, hello everyone. Welcome in. Congrats on first, Shaz. Happy Wednesday. I hope you were all doing well. It's so hot here. More P5 for real. We're back at it again. Been raining all day. I wish. It's so hot here. It was like 80 degrees at like 9 a.m. It was hotter than that. No, it's like right now it's 95 out right now. Like 92 days ago. That sounds gross. Like rain plus heat. I wish it was just like one or the other during the summer. Like I'd rather it just be like hot and dry or just constantly rain, and that's it. Like it's really dry out here pretty much year round, so it's not as bad. Honestly, dry heat is more survivable than humidity in my opinion. Got tornadoes one day and the next day it's all sunny, and then the next day it's raining and humid. Midwest things, yeah. That reminds me of when I visited some family in Ohio. It was like in the middle of the summer, and this is when I was younger, and it was like every day it was like rain for like 5 hours. Not even, it was like rain for 5 hours, but it was like it would rain for 5 minutes and then stop, and then rain for another like 10-15 minutes and then stop, and like it was like that all day every day the whole time I was there. And it was also like 90 degrees and it was awful. I hated it. It made me appreciate the dry weather we have here much more. But hopefully it's not too hot and or humid, but if it's humid rating, I'm sorry. I feel like if it's humid rain though and you go inside a building that has AC, it feels so much better. Compared to like if it's dry hot and you go in a room with AC, it just feels like you're still dying. That's just my opinion though. Alright, where did we leave off? Right when we were getting into Kanashiro's palace, I believe. What's his name? And we walked into a bank. Hello, Makoto.
Shall we go?
Alright, we're going in. Front door.
What business do you have here?
I had a
You're so
feeling
funny,
this would
Chaz.
happen. Come at us.
Makoto.
No, wait! She's one of Kanashiro's customers.
I'd like to speak with the bank president.
Makoto
Excuse
just
me,
being like,
but do you
come
have
at
an
us.
appointment?
I need to talk to him. Now let me through.
Let him pass.
That voice. It's Kanashiro.
Yo, banks have presidents? Yes, but not the political sort. In theory.
In theory. Yusuke. Reception is to the right towards the back. Strongly advise you to do not attempt to go elsewhere. And it has been a while since I've done this palace. I think I've only actually ever done it once. Because I had one playthrough that got past Madarame's palace and like through a couple of, I think like 2 more after it. So I did this one and then the one after. And that's about as far as I've gone in the games, so. Every other time I've played it, I like get to Madarame's palace and then I stop. Because I hate Madarame and his palace. When did this game come out? Looking to the right. Was it like
Incredible.
second
Well.
palace? Yeah. I'm a second palace Andy. Like 2018, 2017 when this came out, right? The original, I mean. To 2017 for worldwide IC.
Hey!
That's not it. Oh. Yeah.
How many
2016 in
beefballs could I
Japan.
eat with this?
Sheesh, it's been 10 years in
Unauthorized entry,
Japan.
property damage, and other disturbances. That comes to 3 million yen in total. You're here regarding that, correct, Miss Beautiful President?
Ew.
It must be quite tough gathering so much money. I'd be willing to give you a loan, you know.
You gonna call it off then?
No, a loan. The interest rate is 10% a day.
Oh my god.
10% interest a day. That means 1 day is...
On being bad at math is so on point. That fits her character.
It's 300,000 yen.
There's no need to be alarmed. I have a more manageable option for people like you.
That was your plan from the beginning, wasn't it?
I'm telling
Quite
you.
the impressive insight, Nijima-san. Or should I say, the younger sister of the beautiful prosecutor, Sai Nijima.
Oof.
How do you know that?
Please don't underestimate our intelligence network.
The fact that he found that out so quickly.
My, what wonderful goods have come falling into my lap.
Don't be ridiculous!
Young women are such great assets. They lack strength, be it social, physical, or mental. It's as if they only exist to be devoured by the strong.
My god, this guy is
That
terrible.
just might be the rule since the dawn of history.
You truly are despicable.
You better be ready, Kaneshiro. We're gonna snatch your treasure from you.
Don't make me laugh, you petty thieves. My citadel has the highest security installed in it. Anyone will do anything for money. I'll rob you of your lives as easily as I breathe air.
Yeesh.
Get them.
Doesn't Makoto ride the motorcycle or whatever?
Mr. Kaneshiro's orders. Eliminate them at once. Come,
Nice. We love to see that.
ravage them.
The persona. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. I just remembered one of the characters riding a motorcycle.
Yours.
On your knees! You're on the floor! You're the best, Panther!
Let's go.
Finish him!
It's that easy. Except they're not dead yet.
Persona! Eat this!
Oh, okay.
Let's go. I lend it. The first squad's been taken down. Send it back up. The target is still alive. We must.
Persona.
Let's go.
Hello, Papa. Thank you for the hydrate. Welcome in. I hope it's not too hot outside and that you're staying cool.
Calm down. Go down.
Let's see. It's winter here? Oh, is it really? I did not know that. I guess wait, that kind of makes sense. It's nice and toasty where I'm at, unfortunately.
Take this!
Itzy, man, that would be a lot better than what it is here.
Ready on your mark. Persona.
You know, Musuke. Oh, why did I do that?
Persona. Ravage them. Persona.
To find out how long it takes me to clear this palace.
Persona!
Hopefully not just one stream. Hopefully it's done before the end of the stream.
Eat this!
The target is currently stuck here. We need more backup. Don't let them escape. We must take them down.
What the? There's no end to them. Have they really been hired with money? We're in trouble at this rate. Let's run!
Come on, Morgana. We got SP to spare.
Why did the security guards turn into monsters? And what were those supernatural powers? Could those have been the personas you mentioned? Does now really look like the time to be asking that?
Come
we
on,
need to
Makoto.
retreat. Makoto, make sure you don't get separated from us. Hurry, Joker. The exit's just over there.
Oh, actually, I gotta
This way.
I gotta take a look around here, see if there's any money I can take before we leave. Alright, I guess we're leaving.
There's no end to them. Guys,
You seem to be in quite a pickle.
how dare you sneak around Kaneshiro?
Those would be my words. However, I do thank you for providing me with such wonderful goods. It's time you disappear.
My god, the little clap.
Managing a bank is tough as it is, so it's my policy to kill clients who are more trouble than they're worth. Having one impertinent brat disappear is enough to set an example in that other world.
Please stop!
Oh, I wouldn't damage an asset like you. They're dead men walking, but you'll be just fine. Your sister is quite a beauty, though. I'll make sure to make her my personal slave. Once I get bored, I'll just sell her off. Oh, poor sis. She could have been successful, if only her younger sister wasn't so dumb.
My sister has nothing to do with this!
Then you better start taking customers tomorrow. All you gotta do is endure it, and do as you're told.
Endure it. Do as I'm told.
You'll earn 3 million yen in no time. Although your life and everything along with it will be a complete wreck by then.
I am Makoto.
I've been listening to you go on and on.
Tell him, Makoto.
Shut your damn mouth, you money-grubbing asshole!
Best girl has awakened.
Have you decided to tread the path of strife?
Rah.
Yes. Come to me!
Very well. Let us proceed with our contract at once. I am thou.
Thou art I.
You have finally found your own justice. Please, never lose sight of it again. This memorable day marks your graduation from your false self.
What the hell?
A persona?
No, dude. That's a bike.
Yuji.
I can feel it. Myself. Me!
She's just a motorcycle girly.
Wow! Nice! What is that? I've never seen anything like it.
You better earn your keep, or else I'll kill you!
I will not lose heart again. Ever. I'll go full speed, non-stop. Right, Johanna?
There it is.
Don't get all cocky just because I normally behave myself. I am done playing nice! Let's go, Johanna! Full throttle! The enemy's agitated. Take them down and make an opening. I'll use my persona! Johanna!
Time to nuke him.
Nice! The enemy's down! Looks like a job for you! Pass the baton and follow up!
Exactly.
You're mine.
Nice, Joker! Right in their weak spot!
Let's go.
I don't know what those guys' other weakness is.
Jack Frost.
Maybe wind?
There.
Oh. Oh. Makoto, no.
You can't move while you're stuck like that!
Get wrecked.
You see that again, Panther? Go get him!
Roger.
Pass the baton and follow up!
Inugami. You're mine.
Cool! Looking cool, Joker!
Up to you.
Another baton pass!
Keep passing it along.
Persona! Eat this!
Makoto, no.
Come! Jack Frost! Go down!
Oh. Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't know why I did that after he froze. Makoto. Whoops.
Persona! Persona! You did it! They've fallen flat! We can end this right
Get
now!
him.
This'll end it! Let's get out of here!
No, Morgana, we have to finish the palace today.
We know how to get in now. Our objective's been accomplished.
But how are we getting out?
There's only one exit, right?
So, you're totally the fist of the Phantom Star now, huh?
Do you want to get smacked? I'm going on ahead, so follow me.
Damn.
Okay, we have a path. Get in!
Get in the cat car, guys, as we escape.
So you'll stand against me no
Kaneshiro.
matter what. Very well.
I need a
I'll
woman
wait
in
for you
charge of
all.
my life, to be honest.
There's no escape in reality. Nor will you break through the security
Ain't
system
that
here.
the truth sometimes?
It doesn't matter what you do. You can kiss your bright futures goodbye.
Alright, guys, we're going back in now.
Man, talk about wild. That was no Aikido. That was some hardcore ass whooping.
I am so not pissing her off. Feel like she'll rip off my arm.
She does exude that aura.
Oh, stop it.
Poor Makoto.
This is the most exhausted I have ever gotten these past few years. But it felt pretty great. I never thought I'd become part of the Phantom Thieves I was after. Sis might faint if she found out.
You mentioned her earlier.
She's a prosecutor for the district, and she's investigating the Phantom Thieves.
Wait, ain't that bad?
No need to worry. A normal investigation would never lead them to a world like that.
So she says.
And again, must have been fate for this to happen.
What do you mean?
I can't be like my sister. I had a feeling that there'd come a time when we wouldn't see eye to eye anymore. I'm thankful to have a sister who works so hard, but there are times I feel sorry for her too. And after hearing my persona's voice, I clearly understand how I feel now.
It appears you're not as reserved as you make yourself seem.
I was just doing whatever the adults told me to.
Won't she be perfect as our advisor? She's fearless and has a sharp mind.
Sounds good to me. We've needed someone like that for a while now.
I'd be honored if I can help out.
We
Madonna
had
has
way
been
too much
replaced.
testosterone anyway, so I feel much better.
It's from Kaneshiro. He's reminding us of our debt. So the Kaneshiro over here doesn't know what happened inside the palace.
That's right. But his palace will be affected if the real Kaneshiro's cognition changes. We can't be lax.
Seems it'd be best to avoid unnecessary contact with him until then.
3 weeks left, huh?
There's that security system too.
But if we pull this off, it'll definitely be great.
We'll crush him like a fly. I'll make him regret making me angry.
Tell him, Makoto.
Anyways, let's begin our operation tomorrow.
First, we need to secure a route to the treasure, like always.
You guys are finally starting to get used to this.
I'll be waiting for the call to meet up.
Damn, motorcycles are cool. I wish my persona was like that. Yours is on a ship, though. Dude, are you kidding? Motorcycles are way cooler than damn boats. It'll just be like the song, I'm a phantom on a steel horse I ride. Don't say such things. And for the record, I am most certainly not wanted. Honestly, I'm just surprised you know how to ride a motorcycle at all, Niji-senpai. You got a license? A regular one. Phantom mentioned. True. The Phantom Files? Just kidding. That aside, or it's the Sothis Files, that's right. Man, I can't escape the Sothis Files with the new Fire Emblem either. It's just gonna be in that one too. Oh. September can't come soon enough. For real, bringing that gift back. Easy. There you go. The best part is that I want to try to beat at least this and Persona 3 before then on stream, so we'll see. I might not finish Persona 3 before that game comes out. Hopefully, though. It shouldn't take that long, honestly, at the rate I've been going. Well. Alright, let me read what she was saying. Wait, since Makoto can drive, shouldn't she be the one driving Morgana? Alright, Makoto says, I know I'm not in any position to be saying that. I truly do. However, I must apologize. It was my actions that dragged all of us into this mess. And on top of that, I misunderstood your true intentions in this. If only I could have realized what happened to Suzui-san too. We don't need to talk about that now. Seems like there are still lingering issues on everyone's mind. Now it's not the time to be talking about that shit though. Don't we gotta be doing something about Kaneshiro? He's right. Very well.
Well, we were at odds with each other until just a while ago. But Ryuji's totally right. We need to work together to overcome this.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Or something like that.
Nice.
But we're going up against a real criminal. Stay on your toes, okay?
Hey.
Yay. My box. 100 recovery R. My order from that home shipping program. Yep.
Hey.
You living an honest life, remember that I'm the one who's judging if you've been rehabilitated. He's Igor? No way. Soichiro is Igor. That explains why I remind him of him when he was younger, I guess, or something like that. No way. Isn't Igor in like the other Persona games? Or am I wrong? I thought he was though. Times don't happen inside a conference room. They're happening out there in the real world, understand? All of them. Yeah, okay. That's crazy. I can't believe Sojiro was in all the Persona games. Maybe in Persona 6 we play as Sojiro as a kid. Before he became Igor. This detective knows what's going on. Drawing on your first-hand experience is important. Sure, Morgana, whatever you say.
Hey!
Yeah, I'm cooking with this theory. I'm gonna make some more coffee. Oh, yeah.
Hey!
I can make her do it. 5,000 yen just to make some coffee? Hmm. You know, lets me do other things. I feel like her coffee's gonna suck.
Hey!
You rich. I'm gonna be broke at the rate I'm going at.
Oh.
Yes! All right.
Nice. Plus, I'm trying to get my charm and kindness up, even though I don't think it's the best way, honestly. Looks like you're at it again. How's it going? Here, I'll give it a sip. It's flavor. It's Cuban Crystal Mountain, right?
Let me explain.
Cuba is the biggest island in the Caribbean. Their coffee is known for its full-bodied aroma and taste. Crystal Mountain coffee is made from only the largest beans of the harvest. It has sweet, nutty flavor with low acidity. Please, Igor, someday I'll be able to make coffee like you. You're like a customer too, one that takes a tremendous amount of effort. Oof. You have potential, so keep training.
Well then. A motorcycle-shaped persona, huh? You know, I can turn into a car too, so it's like I feel a sense of familiarity.
Maybe you're a persona.
No. I'm supposed to be human. Well, motorcycles are nice too, but it can't carry large numbers of people. I really am special after all. Huh? Carry? No. Take somewhere? Something just crossed my mind. It's no use. I can't remember it all.
Morguner can't remember his past.
There's nothing I can do about it if I can't remember. I need to concentrate on Kaneshiro for now. Unlike you guys, Makoto's clever, so we can expect great things from her. But man, you really do have something special.
I just got lucky.
Looks like I better step up my game too.
Negotiation with an animal type. Shadow fails, you can try again.
All right.
Nice.
I know. After we deal with Kaneshiro, I should consult her about mementos too. I'm sure Makoto's brain can...
My guy passed out.
Hello? We got Yusuke, and now Makoto. This guy has quite the luck. Could there be some reason for it? Nah, that can't be.
Because I am John Persona.
I'm sorry for asking you here like this.
Oh no, it isn't a problem. I actually find it refreshing to be asked to the student council room, although it's somewhat nerve-wracking as well.
I think I'm a bit nervous myself.
Yuri?
Anyway, I wanted to apologize. I'm really sorry for everything.
What do you mean?
You know, how I blamed you for Kamoshida's sexual harassment? Well, I wanted to apologize for that. I've honestly been meaning to this whole time.
To Kamaki-san.
I feel like on X Makoto would be kind of crazy Yuri, though.
I realized later that Shiho was calling out for me, and I wasn't there to help her. I didn't want to admit my own guilt. So I took it out on you, Nijima-senpai. I'm very sorry.
Hey, there is no need for that. In fact, I think the two of us are pretty similar.
Huh?
I was unable to save anyone. Not Suzui-san, and not any of Kaneshiro's victims. I kept telling myself I wasn't at fault because I was simply following orders.
That's crazy. Shaz. Somehow I actually could see it though. Like, I don't think On would be Makoto's type, but at the same time I think they could make it work.
That was all a lie. It felt like I would be admitting my own worthlessness had I not shifted the blame off of myself. Fear of that worthlessness was probably why I acted so harshly toward you and your friends. I'm deeply sorry as well.
I see. In that case, wanna call it even?
Even? You're right. How about we leave this conversation in the past?
Mm-hmm. Oh, but one more thing. You're not worthless, Nijima-senpai. You were a bit reckless, but you're the reason we found a way into Kaneshiro's palace. And you even obtained the power to change people's hearts. You did that all yourself, Nijima-senpai.
That way of thinking is very much like you, Takamaki-san.
Fair enough, I suppose. Shaz.
When you confronted me about Suzui-san, I realized how dishonest and small I was. You're always very direct. That's what helped me finally realize the error of my ways. It turns out I'm a little slow on the uptake at times. Hey, can I call you On?
Yeah. I'm going to do the
Oh
same.
my god, it's an actual Yuri moment.
Makoto. That's so embarrassing.
It's an actual Yuri moment.
How about we get something to eat before we go home for the night?
And now they're going on a date? Yeesh.
Oh, I know a place. There's a crepe shop at Central Street that totally stuffs their crepes.
Do you want to split one?
Let's each get a whole one, and then we can go half and half on those.
Oh, yes, let's. After school today, right?
That's crazy. The MC had no chance. I realize this is a mite late, but shall I refer to you, Nijima-san? I believe some curiosity should be shown to some courtesy. Why did I say curiosity? Should be shown to those who are our senior. Oh yeah, can we call you Niji-san or like Niji-senpai? No need to be formal. Just treat me the same as you would anyone else. Well, don't say that to Ryuji. Would that not be rude? I already just call her by her name. Okay, we get it. Did something happen, Ryuji? Yeah. Okay. Literally, they're like hinting at it. That's so funny. He did say for real as well. Time to add to the counter. I need to get a Ryuji like for real emoji. For real.
Hey, are you listening?
Oh no, he's gonna chuck chalk at me again. Am I ready? No. He's not quick enough.
Pay attention.
Kids these days have no respect for their elders or a loss. I feel like if I hang around Morgana too long, I'm gonna have zero aura at all. So Jiro's the only one holding up my aura and Riz. Mission start. Okay, wait though. I could go to the palace, but I could also go to the doctor. The medicine is nearly complete, and there's something I really want to test. Would you come to the clinic, my little guinea pig? Sorry, guys. We can deal with the palace in a bit.
I suppose.
Alright, that's it for today. Oh, are you going home already? If you have some time, why don't you stay and enjoy an apple? She fits the, oh, it's a... Okay, I was gonna say, if she just, like, had apples that fits, like, the doctor a day keeps... an apple a day keeps a doctor at bay or whatever that's saying. But no, it's just a gift that she got. Hello, Dr. Takami. Chief Oyamada. Whatever sounds guinea pigs I'm making. Oh no. It was a medical conference nearby, so I thought I'd check up on you. Who's this? He doesn't look like a patient.
Oh.
He's a part-time staffer. I'm having him handle some miscellaneous tasks for me. So, do you have some business with me? I hear you stole one of my patients, a girl with bronchitis. She came here with her father. Bronchitis, you say? Well, I had no intention of taking her from you. I certainly didn't encourage her to visit my clinic. Others talk that the care at the university hospital is inferior to that of a general practitioner. Original medicine. Ha! What you're doing here is simply absurd. You're right. I would have turned a blind eye if you had just rotted away out here in this little town. But this is your final warning. Shut this place down and resign your medical license. Don't do it. Fuck this guy. What did you say? Hello, Nick. Welcome in. Hello, hello. New model, new name. Yeah. Hello, hello. I hope you've been doing well. Yeah, it's been quite a while. I saw you got a new model as well, right? I haven't been able to stop by, but I did remember you talking about it, and I remembered I saw something on it about it, so you did. Nice. Been doing well, just tons of busy stuff. Yeah, I kind of feel that too. All good, swing on. Yeah, thank you. I will when I can. Unfortunately, I work really early in the day, and then usually when I get home, I'm exhausted, so I sleep, and then I wake up, and then I stream, and then I sleep some more. That's kind of my daily schedule right now, so. But. Alright. Sounds like true cat vibes, yeah. I can't survive without a daily nap. I tried for so long. I was like doing pretty good for a couple weeks where I hadn't taken any naps in the middle of the day, and then like one day I was like, you know what, sounds good, a nap, and then I'm just right back to where I was. Yeah, I've been doing well. Alright. Oyamada said, what did you say? Don't worry about it. Trying to stand up for her, though. You seem quite fond of her. Perhaps I should reveal this woman's true identity. She's a monster who tortured a patient with her unregulated medicine. Terrible, isn't it? She was such a brave girl, always smiling.
What does this mean?
Was. Passed away.
What?
Oh no. Perhaps you'll suffer the same fate. She is the plague after all. Don't lie to me. She should still have some time. She was slowly recovering. Her condition couldn't have deteriorated that quickly. Kill this man. For real, Shaz. Let's enter his palace and take him out. Make him have a psychotic breakdown. But it did. You must have misjudged. Now, back to the reason why I'm here. Don't ever take another patient away from me again. You don't want to make me angry. Immediately just do everything wrong within his palace. Yeah. Exactly. Miwa-chan's dead.
No.
No, but she's all I've been working toward all this time. Curing her was my only... There's no way. Don't lose hope. What have I been doing all this time? What even was the point? I can't. Anything I can do? No, I'll be fine.
Sorry.
I feel better now. Thanks for your help, my little guinea pig. I like how she calls me little, but my guy is like much taller than she is. Yes, Mom. Oh my god, Chaz.
All right.
Oh.
I don't know what to say.
I wish I hadn't shown you that side of me. I feel like the bottom one's wrong. We all do sometimes. Yeah, you're right. I guess it's fine once in a while. Go on home for today. We will continue this another time. I feel like the other doctor
Take
is
care.
lying. I don't know why. Something tells me he's lying, though.
Brain, huh?
There's been no sign of Kaneshiro acting on his threat. He probably thinks his money's just gonna come rolling in. He does have the upper hand on us, after all. If that picture got out, who knows what would end up happening to Ren. Yes, worst case scenario, he gets expelled. No, there is a more serious alternative. He's currently under probation meeting. I'm so sorry, this whole situation is my fault. Come on, stop that. I mean, you're the one who's in the most trouble right now. My sister is a prosecutor. This will surely be a problem for her as well. What should I do? Kaneshiro must surely be taking that aspect into account too. Need to stop him. For sure, even the police are having trouble with that bastard. We'll be heroes if we catch him. High risk, high reward. They're also positive. In a way, the recklessness is the only reason we are now able to pursue this change of heart. Totally, we're in deep shit, so we're gonna have to do whatever we can to get out of it now. I never thought of things in that way before. Kodo, all I ask is that you stop using ellipses, that's all. Yuji says, shut up. Alright, leader, you can decide when we meet up. Oh no.
When your position changes, your view of the world changes too. It's a shift in cognition. In any case, we're in big trouble if we can't change Kaneshiro's heart. Let's do this.
I was just thinking Pete uses them a lot more than you do, Shaz. I had a friend at one point, he was kind of older, and that's all he would do. Like, he would just constantly use ellipses, and it's, like, I don't mind it, but also, like, it just reminds me of him, and he ended up being kind of an asshole, so. I think, therefore you are.
Oh!
You'd see it more on Twitter for me. Okay, but I feel like that's different. This is like in regular conversation. He would use it. You would like ask him something and then he would just respond with ellipses, which is what Pete does, and that's why Pete reminds me more of him than you do. It's just such an old person thing to do, I think. Let's call the maid over. Oh, it's you. I work on Friday and Saturday evenings. So you should request me then.
Bye.
Oh, she doesn't work on the Tuesday? If I end up working other than Friday or Saturday evenings, I'll contact you. How am I supposed to get my maid fix?
Got time right now? Next time, then.
How do you get kindness and charm up? Like, what is the best method for that? Is it like taking baths? I thought for a second that this guy standing outside of my place was Mishima, and I was like, what the hell is this guy doing here? It's not, but it kind of looks like him. I was like, that guy is stalking me.
Wow. What do you want to do?
Jump scare for real.
What's up?
Turned into a lobster, I guess.
Hey.
Got an achievement for that. Couldn't take the heat of the vapors in the bathhouse. Don't have enough money to do what I want. Haven't there been a lot of pictures leaked lately? Want me to get you a job? It's real easy. So many weirdos lately. Is it that psychotic breakdown thing? Been hard to meet my quota. I gotta find some suckers. Yeesh. Hey, did you hear? There's a famous fortune teller in Shinjuku.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I read something online about that. The beautiful fortune teller, or something. I hear she's pretty good. A lot of people say her predictions came true. Some say she can divine your destiny. Maybe she could tell who my soulmate will be. I think I'll pay her a visit. Didn't you see her when you met the journalist? Yeah, and she predicted what would happen to Ryuji.
Wow!
Even though it wasn't quite accurate, but still funny. Yeah, we should visit her sometime.
Good morning.
Hi, Makoto.
I've been thinking a lot about personas and palaces since yesterday.
She's got personas and palaces on her mind, Shaz.
That floating bank really reflects Kanashiro's personality. He's flying around so no one can trace his steps. He doesn't trust anyone. I bet security's tight in there too. That's why we should get moving soon. Why don't we go to the palace today? Great. I'll leave my schedule open after school, so we should all get together.
Sounds good, Makoto. Makoto, you okay? Has Kanashiro threatened you or anything? He's been demanding money, but I choose to ignore those messages. Is that okay? Have any scary men shown up at your house? No. Kanashiro still has the photographs in his possession, remember? Perhaps that advantage is why he doesn't feel an urgency to act. So do you think we're safe for now, then? All we can do is hope. Yeah, I know how you feel. Just like Yusuke said, those pictures are bad news for us. We will need to change Kanashiro's heart as soon as possible. Agreed. I will do everything I can to help. Alright.
Let's go.
Actually, guys, I changed my mind. We're not going to the palace.
Eureka!
Eureka? Huh?
I just had an idea. And a phenomenal one at that.
Yeah, we just like show up and then like we were like, actually guys, I changed my mind. I gotta go.
Lady Ann will surely swoon for me if I...
Sorry for the wait.
Morgana.
So what's up, Morgana?
I could throw him under the bus. Oh no. Cat, by the way, not even human. Shut him down.
From what?
Well... It's something I've been giving a lot of thought lately.
You shouldn't do that, Morgana. You should keep those intrusive thoughts to yourself. Not everything you think has to be put out into the world. Twitter is a perfect example of that.
Now that we've all gained some experience in battle, I think it'd be good for us to work on our finishers.
Our finishers? Yeah, I guess if we're going to keep fighting, we ought to do it with style.
Hello, Aruna.
Right? Right?
I hope you're doing well. And yes, I am just trash talking Morgana and Twitter.
So I came up with just the idea.
It's because he's trying to take on from Shaz, and we can't let that happen. But hello, I hope you're doing well.
It's maybe my best one yet, and we can definitely pull it off if you play a part in it, Lady Ann.
Ah, you've been watching. Nice, nice. Yeah, Morgana. I mean, Morgana is the boss, but we can tip him over at least.
Me? Well, okay. What do you need me to do?
Now that's our Lady Ann. Quick on the uptake. What I had in mind
Put an
was...
engine bomb.
And that should do the trick.
Really?
So is that a no?
Well, it's not that I don't want to. It's more like, isn't your idea sorta impossible? Even in the metaverse?
Did someone say the B word?
Huh? What was that?
Oh yeah, the wait, why is this being brought up now? This is so random. It's the star from the memento that Josie was like, oh, if you use this, you can have a wish. I thought those weren't supposed to be able to leave the mementos. What? Could it have reacted to something? That's so weird.
Sup?
Can't trust Morgooner.
I never imagined that I would end up helping the Phantom Thieves.
Okay, Makoto. Things change.
Things would get interesting if my sister ever found out.
There's no time to be getting sentimental here.
Yes, I understand. I do have one request about all of this, though. Can you teach me how to be a Phantom Thief? Like, about the metaverse, for example?
Simply put, that world is formed of a person's cognition. There you can change people's hearts.
We're gonna get the whole lore drop for the third time, guys. Hope you're ready.
Yeah, I've gathered that much just from going there once. But the method of transportation still eludes me. I mean, it's a smartphone navigation app.
You only need a name, a location, and a distortion. After the first entry, the palace is bookmarked.
You really just make it sound like an ordinary app. Aren't there any dangers associated with it?
Don't worry about that. We've already been a bunch of times and
Ryuji, that doesn't mean it's safe just because we've done it a few times.
That's not what I mean. It's a navigation app, right? Couldn't someone easily access our history on the server? Wait, why are you looking at me like that?
God.
Has nobody thought of this before?
It's a group of clowns with one smart person in the room.
now she's catching me off guard too.
Because we're
And
stupid,
we don't know
Makoto.
where it came from, right? It showed up on my phone without any input from me. Do you know anything about it?
Oh, that sounds so wrong. There's no need to worry.
Pretty confident in that answer.
I don't fully understand, but I don't think we have to worry about people accessing our data.
So there's a guy whose name is Igor, who is actually Sojiro, who is the owner of the cafe that I'm staying at. But actually, because he's Igor, he's in all of the other Persona games, which means that the cafe is just a front so that he can lead people to their rehabilitations through the Persona world. If you think about it, it just makes sense. Lord drop. It's this theory that I came up with earlier that's 100% not true, but I'm going with it. So, source, I made it up.
From what I can tell, this app is incredibly special. It wasn't made by any ordinary means.
So Jero is an expert in technology, I guess.
True. An app that allows you to enter another world isn't exactly commonplace. Well, Sis doesn't know who the Phantom Thieves are, so I suppose our information is safe for now.
We're still learning things ourselves. I hope your sharp wit can help us with that.
Makoto,
Thank you. I'll do my best.
you should introduce us to your sister.
More importantly, we need to stop him from releasing those photos. If the public gets a hold of them...
I could only imagine what would happen then.
Come on, we just gotta take care of him before the time limit.
Oh,
We'll bounce back
yes.
from this. Plus, people will really start admiring us if we can manage to take this bastard down.
Yeah, this is the perfect opportunity. We have to succeed no matter what.
All right.
July 9th. It's the deadline. Let's... Oh.
Huh?
Wait, no. Thank you. I did not want to go to the mementos. I didn't mean to click that.
Okay, let's go.
Thank God Morgana was like, no, wait, hold up.
So what am I gonna be called? You all were using code names, weren't you?
You're quite perceptive.
This time's a hard one. Maybe something like, shoulder pads?
Why in the world did you focus on that?
I
Ryuji.
refuse to be called that.
What about Ryder?
Sounds too much like a smuggler. Next. Fixer? I'm not a mastermind, though. Next. Won't you give me something better to work with?
She reminds me of an empress. You got anything, Joker?
Queen.
Whoa, I totally see it.
It fits so well that I'm at a loss for words here.
Queen. It has a nice ring
Not
to
the
it.
ads.
I like it. Let's go with that. Now then, could you explain to me the strategy for this mission?
Strategy?
You don't have one? Wait, the Phantom Thieves were acting without any plans?
I kinda. This is so true, though. We just wing things around here, you know? We go in, and whether or not the result is bad or good is what happens after the fact. Stop calling us out, for real. Makoto is just, like, making us sound like we're a bunch of idiots.
We pretty much look around the area. I provide navigation when needed. And then,
If we run into shadows, we beat the shit out of him.
Thank you, Ryuji.
Very well then. I feel like I'll be useful for sure. Seems my role is to be the brain of this team. I'll analyze Mona's information and give out orders. Any objections?
Thank you, Queen.
None, Queen.
I bet Skull's definitely the type that'll be under a girl's thumb.
Mona,
Damn.
will you begin navigating us?
yes, Queen!
Him too, it seems.
My god, they're all gooning over her now.
Indeed.
That's crazy. They hated her before, and now they just like, oh, we're all stupid. Please lead the way. Yes. I mean, shoulder pads as the name is so stupid. Come on, Ryuji. Can we vote to kick Ryuji off the team? Oh yeah, I do need to change. I guess this team will work. Oh, they fixed the door. Seems as though they don't want to leave that gaping hole. But we can't get in now. Sorry, I think I might have taken it a little too far. Anyone but Morgana in. True. No, you saved us. That's right. We would have been in serious danger had it not been for Queen's actions. Thanks.
Joker.
The details are no longer important. Let us search for a new infiltration point. Alright.
I can feel it.
No, if this would let me see it. How do we get in? I don't remember how to get into here. Is there anything for me to grapple on? Wait. There we go. What could it be? Wait, I can feel a draft coming from underneath the statue. Doesn't this seem strange to you, Joker? I mean, it's a weird statue.
Yes.
Especially that placard. I wonder why it looks so odd. Why don't we check it out? Man, that's just way too convenient. A hidden passage. Let's head inside. After we're adequately prepared, of course. Alright, in we go. I would say given this interior design, we are inside the bank. It seems our plan went well. I don't remember seeing this place last time. Just where exactly are we? There has to be a map somewhere. For now, let's try and explore and search for the treasure.
Hold on a second. What is that?
It's a doggy.
A shadow in the shape of a dog. It seems this place has its own watchdogs.
I don't like the looks of this.
You mean 'cause you're a cat?
Hell no! I mean, it might be able to sniff out intruders or hunt us down super fast. But
Ryuji got
if
him.
it does end up making trouble for us, that could actually work out in our favor. We'll have a chance to finally show off our surprise finisher.
Sorry to butt in. We've been spotted.
Oh, it's a two-headed dog. Wait, why is Morgana on the team now?
Not bad. But love always burns the brightest when facing down an opponent like this. Panther, I think the moment's finally arrived. It's showtime!
Huh? You want to do that right now? Jeez, fine. Here we go.
I'm fired up!
Showtime. An attack where two members work together has been unlocked. Wait, Morgana is so cute in this form. He is kind of cute, honestly.
Let's do this!
Makes me want to slap him in the face. Poor Morgana. You know, I think Ryuji, Morgana, they don't deserve the hate they get. The only one who really deserves the hate is Mishima. Because he is actually the worst. For real, the song slaps. Yeah, Ryuji's dumb, but like he's the friend who's always gonna be there for you no matter what. Morgana is just a gooner. And Mishima is like a Reddit/Discord mod, and I can't stand it. Like, he talks like one. It's just annoying. I can't stand it.
This is how I really feel! Thanks! You have such good taste! Yeah! Here's a bonus! Excellent!
That felt so over the top.
This is amazing!
Dude, what was that just now? When do you guys figure out how to do something like that? Simply the fruit of our secret, passionate training. Morgana, okay, you know what? I take it back. You're right, Chaz. I guess we did put some effort into it. I'm still surprised it went so well.
Do you think...
Oh, you know what it could have been? Maybe it was because of that thing Josie gave us, the star-shaped thing. Gooner alert. I think it even gave off some kind of twinkle back then. Back then? Oh, you mean when I told you about the team-up idea? So, in other words, the star, I guess we'll call it, reacted to Mona's wish to fight alongside Panther. Wish-granting stars, if that's truly the case, we're just encountering one strange phenomenon after another. Yeah, this wasn't in the base game. I was like, I don't remember this, but... I don't really get it. But what I know is if Mona and Panther can pull that off, we can't we do it? Can't we do it too? Wouldn't that be sick?
What
Yeah.
about this?
Hey Fox, you want to try something? Try coming up with one of those badass moves on our own? They're pretty cool. Yeah. I think Persona's like art style is so memorable, mixed with like its UI. And then the music, just also good.
This is...
What I do get is, if we use these stars right, we'll be more ready than ever for our battles. Alright, well, hold on now. I gotta take something off my team real quick that I didn't approve.
What is the matter? It looks like... I understand.
Get out of here, Morgana. I don't need that fancy art trick if it has Morgana in the team. Why not?
Come on, man.
Nope. Money bag.
Focus.
Joker.
It won't open. Well, there's no point going to that reception room anymore. Come on, let's check somewhere else. Okay. Wait, they have donuts on their desk? LT donut. Looks like there are lower floors in here too. But the elevator is lacking a control panel. They probably control it from a security room. It's a simple but effective measure of screening. It must mean that they really don't want anyone going down there. Let me in. I'm one of the guards, I swear.
Show me your true form.
Hey, it's just be cool.
All right, the first move is ours. Persona. No holds barred. Means it can still fight.
Let's go. Goemon, strike!
There we go. They're weak to frost.
We got him on the ground.
No
I
sudden
knew you could
movement.
do it, Fox.
Everyone, with me!
Finish him.
And the curtain falls.
Still can't believe Matt Mercer is in Persona.
Fits me like a glove.
All right.
Didn't even break a sweat.
Indeed.
This gate is shut. It appears as though we cannot force it open. Alright, so... not that way. Someone please lend me money. I have to pay back Kaneshiro. No. Oh. That's a dog.
Take this!
Nice.
There's a dangerous one in there. All right, Queen. Finish it. Up. Looks like it's not over yet.
Persona! You're mine.
Woo! Looking cool, Joker. Attack!
Let's go. Goemon, strike!
That hit its weak point. Keep it going, Fox.
Oh.
Silly.
I didn't realize there was the one next to it.
Looking cool, Joker.
I was a little confused on why it didn't go into the like all attack menu. It's because there was another one that wasn't down yet.
Finish up.
Whoops. What about our future together? I think we should not do that, but actually I'm gonna agree.
That's a new one, isn't it?
Okay.
This one's locked too.
Show me your true form.
All right, the first move is ours. All right, Queen. Queen hit their weakness. Nice. It's yours. Not
got
over
it.
yet.
I am thou.
Get him,
Goemon, strike!
Yusuke. Let's show him a lesson.
Oh, nice one, Fox.
Do not move a muscle. I will slice you to pieces!
Finish up. One enemy
This is
remaining.
my other self!
This is the last
Goemon!
one.
Has no chance.
No time to waste. Yeah, victory.
I feel like the enemies in this palace are way easier than
That's
the ones
all.
that were in Monorome's. I know it's still kind of early on, though.
I'll reveal your true form.
I don't know why, but to this day, I still think it's weird to picture Matt Mercer in Persona 5. Like, it's been 10 years pretty much, and still.
Persona!
Honestly, though, it is kind of like... I don't know.
We're
how you-
evenly matched here.
how you
Just
would put it.
don't let your guard down. I'll use my persona.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's why I didn't even recognize his voice, like him at all, when I played it the first time, which is so funny. I also didn't really know who Matt Mercer was back then, though, so there is that as well.
Persona! Surprisingly tough.
Here we go. Panther, this is all for you. Follow my lead. The gift as beautiful as you. Gorgeous. I won't let it go to waste.
Oh my god, I just saw the like anime eyes they gave for Morgana in the side art.
Pretty great, huh?
So cursed.
Come! Ravage them!
Take this! All right, Joker! Very smooth.
Persona.
Yes, a clean hit! Two votes
This is my other
Do
self.
this!
I lend it. Victory is ours.
Yeah!
Just that easy.
Victory!
Okay.
Okay, we're done. Hurry up and move on.
We ain't gonna get in like this. But look, it says no entry by unauthorized personnel. That just makes me want to get in more. Isn't there anything we can do? Probably. Oh. Gee. The shadow's in our way. What should we do? Going for the ambush.
I'll reveal your true form.
I am thou. Goemon, strike!
You got him on the ground! I knew you could do it, Fox!
Slice you to pieces!
Finish him!
Kanashiro really is putting his weakest guards to protect the security room.
Blows.
God damn it. Of course, the shadow said it's for real. I take Ryuji off the team and I still have to add to the counter. We're up to 45. 45 for reals.
Calm down. Persona! Go down! Persona! Ravage them!
And no. Why do they hate me? Why must the shadows say for real now too? What did I miss? Not a whole lot, Hunt. We just started the third palace right now for Kanashiro. Congrats on second as well. Welcome in. Hope your day has been going well. Alright, Makoto says, this appears to be some kind of monitoring room. I hope we can find clues in here.
Hey!
Hey guys, I think I found something. Ain't this some kind of keycard?
Oh?
Oh, and over here's a map. As expected, there seems to be quite a large basement floor. I bet that's where the treasure is.
Hmm.
However, only a portion of it is depicted here. Unless we can obtain another map, we won't know for certain. A cursory glance shows this building alone has one underground level. Oh, depression and repo mix well. It depends on the person, but yeah. Shall we go on that elevator we found earlier, then? That should be our last resort. First, let's see if there is anywhere to use this key card. There's more donuts. Alright, it's open. We may be able to use this on other places as well. Let's go. I think there was a door back here for it.
Oh.
I think it's time to pop out that key card from earlier.
All right.
Is this the Greed Palace? Maybe. It's shaped like a bank.
I'll reveal your true form.
Why do the guards gotta walk like that?
Now's our chance to strike! Go! Alright, Queen! This is a holdup! We can end this right now! This'll end it!
Oh,
Enemy down!
there we go.
Keep it going,
Ours. All right.
That enemy was really weak.
Can't get in here. Not over here. Oh, there's a room over here, though.
Show me your true form.
Wow, that shot was crazy! Queen hit their weakness! Nice!
Pass it on.
It's yours!
Fox taking over.
Baton and follow up!
Let's go. Goemon.
Ah, nice one, Fox.
No sudden movements.
Now, let us strike.
Okay,
I
guys.
think this will be enough.
Do it!
Yeah.
And the curtain falls. All right.
Didn't even break a sweat.
Oh, a treasure chest.
Oh, we're winning. We are so back. Okay, I think that's everything that we can open down here. Let's go back up to the store. Is that an elevator? Yeah, it has to be the only thing they're controlling externally. So this is right above it. So what? This is the control room or something? What's the point of coming here? You can go to the basement.
Well,
Receptive is usual Joker. We should be able to ride on top of the elevator. See, we sneak on top and then wait for it to move on its own. Does sound like that plan will take us further down.
let's go.
Okay, we get in. There we go.
Yes.
Cut the damn elevator. Well, I don't think that we're trying to get down there. Make sure it might take out some shadows, but
Hmm.
Oh, the squeaky shoes, though.
Hmm?
So this is the basement. All security, listen up. Is that Kaneshiro? It looks like some rats have infested this place. I mean, we might not survive the fall, though. Under no circumstances, let them further down.
It looks like...
Seems painfully obvious where the treasure is now. But the map from earlier doesn't show that much. I wonder if there's another one somewhere. In any case, heading down should be the best move. Let's keep our eyes out for a map while we explore. So we can't go that way.
A safe room might be close by, Joe.
Nice.
We found a new safe room.
Let's go.
I think the team should be alright. Honestly, all the enemies we've fought so far have been really, really easy.
Oh!
Wait, that's... security camera. They will probably turn their guard if we show up on there. Joker, can't you use your observation skills to see the camera's range? Make sure you don't... Make sure it doesn't catch sight of us. Okay.
I can see it.
Oh, but I so badly want to know what's in that. I know it's just junk, but I still want to get it. Guys, I'm so greedy. Wait, can I,
Focus.
Oh, I can't. I literally can't jump onto it, so if I want it...
Increase security.
That was not worth it. I just wanted it so badly, though. What is that?
Hmm?
Oh, is that a device of some kind? Let's go check it out.
This is...
It seems to be a power supply box or something. The word camera is written on it. Oh,
Nice going!
nice kick. Are you telling me I could have gotten the treasure without being greedy?
Damn it.
Holy crap, that was close. But we'll have to get through this area. Let's do this, guys.
Show me your true form.
You
The
may
most
already
obvious
know
prize
this,
placement,
but
I know.
inflicting status ailments on our enemies is a very useful tactic. I especially recommend it when you can't take advantage of an opponent's weaknesses. Persona!
Damn. We have the tutorial now for Makoto. At least it's voiced by her, I guess.
Ready, Joker. Okay.
This is my other self. I lend it.
You gonna kill me here or
Let's
what?
do this! Go!
It's time.
I see.
Kopa Tengu. You're mine.
Nice! Your gambit worked!
Too slow.
Persona!
Persona.
Good one, Fox!
Let's go. Die!
Think about him just yelling that. It's funny to me.
Persona! Ravage them!
It's a step forward.
Level 21.
The shadow is near. Take caution.
Hey, look!
Oh, another supply box. Or power box. Nice. That should make that easier. Stealth run though. Why fight anyone if we don't have to? Wait, that was a safe room back there though.
Come on over, idiots. Come this way. I'll bash your skulls in.
Oh no, never mind, it's not.
This way!
But it's got this in here. Nice.
Yeah.
There's a shadow. What do we do?
We just walk around him on. It's that simple.
Here's a treasure chest.
Oh, we got Maple as a charm. Okay, so it's not this way.
Whoa.
Oh, that went perfectly. That's because I'm taking charge, Ryuji. Why?
Whoa.
Oh. It is an exceptionally spacious room. According to the map, we should be able to head down from here. Hey, did you hear? Sounds like those intruders are wrecking havoc in here.
Hey!
Everyone quiet down. I hear someone talking. So this floor's and Mr. Kanashiro's ordered us to. Oh, keys. What are those shadows talking about? I wasn't able to pick up everything they said. If only we could get closer.
What did you say?
Oh.
Hey!
I'm curious about the conversation they were having, but there's nothing we can do about it at the moment. For now, let's just focus on finding a way down. True,
We will
Makoto.
be counting on you. Okay.
This is the worst camera placement I've ever seen. Also, like, having all of the supply boxes for your security cameras be just out in the open is insane.
This is...
Like, normally they would be
Joker!
put behind
there's a
something,
chest!
at least.
Oh!
Like a room. Let's open it up. Oh, nice.
Whoa.
That looks stronger than what I got now. Alright,
All
Ryuji.
right.
I like how Ryuji is just like, my weapons are metal pipes.
Whoa.
Is this some kind of vault? Exactly. According to the map, there's a great deal more beyond this. And this is not a vault, but a partition of sorts. The terminals there must be how to open it. But both of them have keyholes. No, Ryuji, for real. Ugh, it's such a pain in the ass how secure this place is. Must be important.
Indeed.
Would seem that's correct. This may lead further down, just as Kanashiro had mentioned.
That reminds me.
Hey, perhaps the key those shadows we're talking about goes here.
Let's go.
That sounds likely to me. Alright, let's go back to that room. Hold up, don't forget about them security cameras. Good point, they're a pain, but we should deactivate the security cameras first. Alright. Time to add another. For real. 47. We've gained so many so far today compared to last time. True. Scrooge McDuck's bank is probably more secure than this place.
Joker!
Damn it.
Oh. Nice.
Such a rare one. Don't let it escape. Persona!
Alright.
Prepare yourself!
Oh,
Persona!
hate to see that.
It's tenacious.
Let's do this! Oh, you want more?
Let's go. Ravage them!
How much health does this thing
I'll
have?
use my persona!
Uh,
Out of our way! I couldn't finish it!
Let's go.
yeah, I don't think we're gonna be getting this one.
This is my other self. Surprisingly tough.
Persona! How about this? It doesn't
Yeah, I
work?
was gonna say that's not gonna work.
Persona, you're mine.
Persona! Prepare yourself! Seems it can still fight!
Let's go. It's tenacious.
I was hoping that a freeze would go off or something, but it does not look like it's gonna happen. Yeah.
Let it go.
We're not monsters.
Spectacular victory!
Pain.
Okay.
Pain. You weren't strong enough.
Oh, a treasure chest!
I'll reveal your true form.
Yeah.
Now's our chance to strike! I'll use my persona! Feel my
Really,
rage!
this won't work.
I couldn't finish it!
Yeah.
I am thou.
You gotta aim!
Get ready!
Come on, Fox. You're killing me, bro.
Persona! Go down!
Okay.
Too bad!
Sorry.
Damn! Can anyone get us out of
Oh.
this? Joker, get up!
No.
Joker!
Holy. Well. Alright. That's interesting.
So, what?
Oh, I have to go all the way to the safe room? Oh, that's pain. Okay, well, you know what that means? That means I should probably heal. Didn't stand a chance, I know.
Okay.
Maybe that means I should kill some of the other shadows around too first. Try to level up a little.
Oh!
Since we've already read all this.
This is... nice going!
Damn it.
Show me your true form.
You may already...
Persona!
Hello, Zen. Welcome in. Hope you've been having a good day. Yeah, exactly.
What's my next move?
Hopefully the Julgo spawns there again. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it still. It's over. The best part.
No holds barred!
Oh my goodness.
This is my
I
other self.
feel that though. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. Thank you, thank you. I have to go in for work an hour early tomorrow morning, and I'm just like, I don't want to.
Persona!
Yeah, they hate me.
There!
Ugh. I swear I'm not tired, guys. Except I am a little bit, to be honest. It's all good, though.
There's a shadow up ahead. The decision is yours, Joker.
Show me your true form.
Hey, it's just be cool.
Now's our chance to strike.
Like, I technically work part-time, but it feels like a full-time job. I'm just about as tired as I would be if it was a full-time job.
Awaiting orders.
Oh.
Feel my rage! Seems it can still fight.
This is my other self. Die!
So,
It's tenacious.
give me a break.
Persona! Take this!
Shit,
Come.
that's hot.
Inugami! Go down!
I screw up. Here he comes.
What? I'm dizzy.
Fox is dizzy.
That company won't be
We'll have trouble
renewing the
landing
building,
his
so they're
attacks.
gonna start allowing people to work from home. Hey, nice. I think that's usually good.
What's my next move?
It's better than being stuck in an office. Unfortunately, mine is not a flexible schedule. It's the same schedule every single week. And it's very early in the morning. I wake up for work usually at like, I don't know, 3:15, 3:30 in the morning.
Persona!
Nice. That is good, son.
Out of our way! And we defeated an enemy! Only one more. Let's go! Help me! Not over yet!
It's time. Ravage them!
Oh.
Come on, Joker!
The hell are you doing?
Alright, pulsing mud. Lend me your power. I'm saved. Thanks, man. You're a real lifesaver.
I am thou. Thou art I.
I am Black Ooze. Ah, nice. Nice.
You've got
That
a new
is on
mask,
that-
Joker!
The grind set for real. I am just forced to work early in the morning. So
All right.
4:30 a.m. until around 10 usually is when I'm off.
The shadow is near. Take caution.
I'll reveal your true form.
There's no way I could ever work from home though, because I would like legitimately just pass out at my desk or whatever.
Persona! Persona!
God damn.
No holds barred! Finish for me! Joker's down. Who wants to avenge him with a double team attack?
Oh, on with the W save.
Let's go. Counterattack.
I think I need to heal myself.
Silky! All right. Persona! Goemon, strike!
Oh, nice one, Fox.
Yours
All
now.
right, there, pass the baton and follow up. Eat this. Ooh, very nice.
There we go.
Don't forget this feeling. Nice work, team.
I feel like my team is underleveled for this. We might need to go get some armor or weapons or something.
Shadow defeated. Let's go, Joker.
Because I didn't spend any time in mementos between the two palaces.
A treasure chest.
But honestly, I hate mementos. So it's like my least
There's a
favorite
shadow.
part of
What do we do?
the combat in
reveal
this
your
game.
true form.
I don't know why. I think it's just riding around in Morgana.
Look, a treasure demon.
Bruh. There's no way there's a treasure demon right here.
Persona!
Oh. Oh,
Let's
that didn't
go.
work.
Goemon!
Oh, nice one, Fox.
Lend me a hand.
Pass the baton and follow up.
It's time.
You don't remember what this one's weak to, neither do I.
Orpheus Picaro!
I'm gonna heal my team though.
Leave it to me.
Thank you.
Much thanks.
Everything I tried on it didn't work, so.
Persona. Inugami. Ravage them.
Joker took one out. All right.
Persona. You're mine.
We'll find it eventually.
Joker
Oh,
took
there it
one
is.
out. All right.
We got it. Well, now we know. I just didn't try the right one
Your
last
power's
time.
incredible, Joker.
Okay.
Love to see that.
This way.
Already feeling better about this one compared to the last one.
Yeah.
I should have killed some of the cameras. I lost so much progress though, honestly.
Hey, look.
All right. Go back up here.
Whoa.
So many hallways.
Whoa.
Skip through all this again.
What did you say?
Hey.
We will be counting on you. Okay.
This is... Look, a treasure... Oh!
Treasure chest. Let's grab that. Ryuji's gonna be like, yo, give me it. Sure
Alright.
thing, bro. Not on the team, though. You've been benched. Oh no. I'm sorry, Zen.
Whoa.
But
Indeed.
Let's go. Joker.
No, it's a good thing I got that treasure, because it didn't respawn there. Do I actually want to go up there? Should be safer, I think.
Show me your true form.
That one is no joke.
Persona!
Be careful.
Take that!
It's Wing, get a hold of yourself.
That is unfortunate.
All yours!
On, coming in clutch yet again.
Looking cool, Joker.
Persona!
Actually,
Some other way. Go!
All right.
Yes,
Pass the baton and follow up.
this is my other self. Goemon, strike!
do it, Yusuke.
Oh, nice one, Fox.
Don't resist!
Everyone, with me!
This'll end it.
And the curtain falls.
All right. Huh. They were nothing.
Oh, I thought the key card wasn't gonna work. I was gonna be like, no, I'm gonna have to find a different one.
Joker!
Nice. Oh, there's a safe room right here. Wait, is this not the same safe room I found earlier? It is. I see. Okay, wait, so I can loop around now. That makes sense. I'm gonna save just in case. And I think... Oh, there we go. Skill... Oh, we're all doing good on HP, but kind of low on SP, so... Alright. Now we shall move forward. I feel like, yeah, I was gonna say, I heard something. There it is. Can't go through that way.
Show me your true form.
Surprised he didn't catch us.
All right, Persona is ours. Charge, Johanna! All right, Queen. Looks like it's not over yet.
Persona!
Something else.
Looking cool, Joker.
I don't know who has... I don't know what that cat's weaknesses are, honestly.
This enemy is beneath us. It should be easy if we stay focused.
Yeah.
Persona, go down.
No time to waste. Nice work, team.
That works.
All right.
A decisive victory.
I'll reveal your true form.
You guys are nuts.
All right, Persona! The first move is ours. Let's go.
Persona! All right.
Oh.
I recommend attacking any enemy who has a status ailment.
Goemon!
We got him on the ground!
Nice.
I knew you could do it, Fox!
Now, let us strike!
Finish him!
A lucky critical hit.
Persona!
Nice, and then we sleeped him.
Persona!
Actually gonna... I don't want to hurt
Let's
the
go.
one doing it.
Go down!
We're all knocked down! That
No
was
sudden move.
Do it!
incredible, Joker!
How much health does this guy have?
Finish him!
Super tanky. Oh,
Too slow.
nice.
I am thou. Prepare yourself.
That's all of them!
There it is.
Not bad, Fox! We all did great, huh? A spectacular victory!
All right.
Next! This way.
Oh, so that's how we get through that door. It's all coming together now.
Wow.
Oh wait, we're all the way back here. Oh, that made all the enemies over here respawn. Nice. Okay. See, so we still have to go to the other side because there's that gate on the door. I gotta figure out where that is to unlock. Oh, nope. Let's not do that. Oh, that's crazy. That was scary. I am fairly certain if I got hit by that, it would have been over. How do I get out of here? Yeah. Nice. Oh, nice. He disappeared. Oh, he came back.
Oh, a treasure chest!
If you wish to pass, you'll have to defeat me. Okay, good practice.
I think I can just not fight him. Oh, there's a will seed right there too.
Ooh, there's one of
It's mine now. Red gluttony seed.
Found a will seed. They're so creepy.
Ooh. I really don't want to fight this guy. Oof. Let us through, let us through. I hope he doesn't turn around. Yes, okay. Awesome. Hold on, wait.
Oh!
Alright, we've made it so far. Looks like there are shadows in there. Let's hide and listen to them. About those intruders. Oh, are you really concerned? Don't be. We have the keys they need, so things should be okay as long as we protect them.
What?
Wait, you think they're talking about those two keys? Just as expected. Those are highly likely to be what opens the partition. What are we gonna do to them? Beat them up and take the keys?
Listen up!
Really, Skull? Just look at them. They're not your average shadows. Anyone in charge of something important must be extremely strong. And there's two of them. Dealing with both of them would be tough. Plus, they could go and sound the alarm. What should we do for now? A good question. Then why don't we split them up and beat them individually? And how would we do that? Remember that monitoring room upstairs? The room we got the map in? There was some communication equipment there as well. We can use that to lure one away. Makoto being smart, as always. I agree. It sounds a lot safer than fighting them both at the same time. Okay, then let's leave this part to our resident intellectual.
Thank you very much.
Think we should head over there now, Joker? Head straight there. Okay, I'll give it a try. Are we ready? Okay, stay quiet during this. Come in, security room. This is the monitoring room. We've been ambushed by intruders requesting backup immediately. One person would be perfect. Roger that. We'll send someone your way at once.
All right.
And there we go. All we need to do now is wait for the enemy. Huh? There's no one here. Not exactly. This was a trap, you bastards. Got outwitted, fool. Oh. That is scary. Wonder how it would feel to have flesh teeth. Probably kind of gross.
He's alert.
Oh no.
Persona.
He's buffing himself. Will this work? Oh, nice.
I am thou.
Get ready. How about this? Persona!
Wait and see.
Come on.
Oh, nice.
Persona!
I think we're ready to actually hit him.
Kofa Tengu. Go down.
See.
Let's
okay,
go.
well, wind is not gonna work on him.
Take this.
Let's do this.
I'd like not to think about it.
Let's get this over with.
Persona! Feel my rage!
Too slow.
All right, Joker!
Come.
Very smooth.
Ravage them. This is my other self. Prepare yourself.
Persona!
How does this feel weaker than the other guy that like one-tapped my team
Persona!
earlier?
No holds barred! Good. You're evolving as a thief.
Growth 1. Nice.
Oh,
Oh, hey, he had a key. Guess that went pretty well, huh?
all right.
It means there should only be one shadow in the security room. Let's snatch the other key from it while we can.
Hey,
Let's head straight there. Why not? Should be a good on health and everything, so... Why isn't he coming back? Could something have happened?
now then.
Alright, let's do it.
Yes!
Who are you? We're here for the other key. What? In that comm earlier, how dare you?
I'll use my persona!
Persona.
Persona!
What are you doing?
Hey!
Yeah, okay.
Persona.
Didn't think that would work.
Not that.
The opponent is strong. Don't do anything reckless.
Let's go.
What's my highest persona that I have? I honestly need to just work on fusing personas. Looking at my team. Probably safest with this one. Nice.
Persona! Out of our way!
I am thou.
Oh wait, that's right. Yusuke's
Get ready!
not great here.
Take this!
Persona.
Panther's off her feet! Are you alright?
Oh,
Joker,
jeez.
Persona! Are you okay? Joanna!
That was not good. Wait, he was weak to nuclear the whole time? Man, making this fight harder than it needed to be.
Let's wipe him out! Okay, guys, let's do it! Joker, you're hurt!
Let's go.
Don't get reckless now! Alright! Panther's back! We can't let Joker die!
Showtime.
Gift as beautiful as you! Gorgeous! I won't let it go to waste! Here we go! Here's the bullets! Excellent!
Nice. That works.
Okay.
Perfect. We've now obtained both keys. Oh, just one moment. Doesn't this map have a little more information than our own?
Nice!
Alright. Well done, Queen. Maybe you can tell us what the bank is like further down. How's it look? You see where the treasure is? Well, the most suspicious area would be the deepest part. Look here. There's an elevator that leads down. The treasure must be past there.
Indeed.
This map seems to indicate that the area beyond the partition is rather large as well. I'm sure security will keep getting more intense from here onward too. We need to be careful. Yep. I'm gonna heal Joker actually before I die by accidentally getting attacked or something. There you are, Morgana. Those. Should be good.
Okay, let's try turning it all at the same time.
On 3. 1, 2.
I don't know why, I just thought of that.
This took some time, but we managed to force it
that
open.
Soulja Boy meme with, what is his name from Evangelion? I can't think of it, but... Great teamwork,
Yes,
everyone.
I agree. The cooperation of our whole team is what helped us through this particular ordeal.
Dude, there's money all over the floor.
So he took all of this from the weak.
He's going to pay for this.
Crazy. Yeah, Shinji, that's who it was. I could not think of his name. Thank you.
Ah,
Wait, Joker, hide. More
No.
cameras. Turn on and off. Might be a surveillance system that switches between multiple cameras for efficient coverage.
What about this?
Alright. I wanted to see what's over here anyway.
Indeed.
Oh wait. Never mind. I hear a will seed too.
Show me your true
out.
form.
alright! Her first move is ours! We couldn't finish it!
Nope.
I am thou.
Die!
It's tenacious.
Let's do this!
I think this is gonna be a rough turn. Oh wait, there we go.
You're on the floor!
No
You're
sudden
the best,
movement.
Panther!
Ouch, ouch, ouch. I implore you, please let me go.
Do it with style!
Nah.
Okay, guys, let's do it!
Alright. Nice.
Hell yeah! A new move!
That's good.
Okay.
Even though I'm not
A
using Ryuji right
decisive
now. But
victory.
wait for the camera, and there we go. Nice. Not too bad at all.
Yeah. Yes.
Gosh, this music though. Pretty good. Oh, nice. This is how we can unlock that door up here. Hopefully I won't have to come back to this palace though. Just one and done. Gotta find that will seed room somewhere over here.
This is bullshit.
Walk through the camera. Oops.
Wow, that shadow was crazy. All right, Queen. Oh, so nice. It exploded. All right, here, pass the baton and follow up. Let's see that again, Panther.
What's wrong? Scared?
No.
Another baton pass.
Not scared.
Let's go.
We're just gonna take you out.
Someone finish it.
Nice.
Only one more.
It's time.
Let's go.
Ravage them.
All according to
Oh,
plan.
nice. Nice.
Yeah. I am the
Nice. Got the Oni. I should be able to see what he's actually weak to. Oh. Stock full, huh? Get rid of this guy, I think.
That's a new one, isn't it?
All right.
What? Who are these rats?
Ah. Door is barred. Oh. Oh, the room's down there. I don't remember this palace being this elaborate, to be honest. Okay, wait, where do I go from here?
Treasure chest spotted.
Nice.
Must be some.
Go, 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 go. We gotta go through here.
I'll reveal your true form. Let's go.
The first move is ours.
Oh,
Persona!
nice.
Johanna! Alright, Queen! Persona! Charge, Johanna!
Yeah, this palace is way easier than
Alright, Queen!
Kamoshida's.
Don't resist!
Not Kamoshida, Madarame.
We can end this right now!
Like, all the enemies are just weak to your main core members that you get.
Hey, think about this!
You don't kill me, let me go already.
Yes.
Give me your power. is
That's
silky.
a new one, isn't it?
Okay.
Increase security. Catch them.
I'll reveal your true form.
Cameras ain't gonna stop me.
This is a bit underhanded.
The first move is ours.
What's the matter?
Let me handle this.
Go ahead. Do your thing.
They're on the floor. You're the best, Panther. Finish up. 2 enemies remaining. Don't let your guard down. Whack them out. You're so gorgeous, Panther.
I think I can just...
Nice job, Panther.
No reason to waste SP if I don't need to. Alright.
All right. That's all.
Moving onward. I'm surprised we can just use the elevator.
Joker, there's a chest.
I'll reveal your true form.
All right, Persona. First move is ours.
Where do these lead to? I can't remember.
Feel my rage. Finish it for me.
Oh, not that.
It's time. Jack Frost.
There we go. It's like I know it's one of these.
They're all knocked down. That was incredible, Joker. This'll end it.
Let's go. Goemon, strike!
Oh, nice one, Fox.
I am thou.
Thou art I.
Oh, nice one, Fox. Freeze.
Now, let us strike!
Finish up.
The finale.
Okay. Huh. They were nothing.
Nice and easy. You hear something coming from below? Isn't that Kaneshiro? What's he doing down there? It is difficult to hear what he's saying from here. And yeah, we're kind of high up. That was close.
You kids in your dress.
3 enemies. Persona. Let's do it. All right, Queen. Take this.
Not what I meant to do.
Prepare yourself that from here. The amazing Queen.
Fast.
You gotta aim. Persona.
Yusuke, no.
Lift him out. You're so gorgeous, Panther. Okay, guys, let's do it.
You have this.
Fox got knocked off balance. You have to recover. Huh? Fox is going berserk.
Let's go.
Hey, listen to us.
Orpheus Picaro! There!
You missed?
Ah,
Come on, Joker. All yours.
Joker, no.
Persona! Take this! We defeated an enemy!
But what about our future together?
Show me the money. Gotta pay for the maid services somehow.
Don't forget this feeling.
A spectacular victory!
With this power. All right.
I feel like this palace is taking no time to get through.
I'll reveal your true form.
That one is no joke. Be careful. We need their weakness. Nice. It's yours. It's not over yet. I'll get him. Let's see that again, Panther. Go get on to the second person.
Let's do it, Yusuke.
Right on
Nice
target.
one, Fox.
No sudden movements.
Then we take him out.
And the curtain falls.
Okay.
They were too weak to bother with.
This feeling.
Oh, thank goodness. That's gonna
We
be like
can
the
use
last
this
safe room
space.
was so long ago.
Let's do it.
Quick save. And maybe heal up my team again. We're gonna.
Okay.
All right.
Now then.
We may enter a battle if we get any closer. Are we ready? Yeah. Kaneshiro. You bastards, how did you get this far? What about my security?
What?
Sorry, that shit was a piece of cake for us. Honestly, though. Well, I wouldn't say it was that simple. Hey, finish off these vermin here. Keep them away from the elevator at all costs. Oh. Ah. Okay.
Persona! Johanna! Alright, Queen!
Oh,
Come on, get a hold of yourself!
I messed that up.
Persona! Die!
Nice. Oh no.
Persona!
Just gonna debuff him.
Queen's
It's
frozen?
time.
She's stuck!
Inugami! Ravage them!
Great move, Joker! That's two knocked flat!
Yours.
It's not over yet!
Nice.
Panther's ready to pounce.
Let's go.
Showtime! For you, Panther! How sweet! It's just what I needed! How's that? Ha! This one's free! Now that's style! Pretty great, huh?
Oh, nice. I took out the guy who was in the middle.
Joker's down.
Oh.
Come on, you gotta hold on!
I am thou.
Which one was weak to frost?
Strong. It has a significant no wind skills. It's powerful, so stay on guard.
Prepare yourself.
Dual scorpion.
Panther's off her feet! Are you alright? Now I'm pissed.
Not a good way to die. Yeah. For real. It is not.
Alright. Time for
Let's
a
go.
counterattack!
Time for a heal,
What
actually,
is
Morgana.
Piccolo? I've got this.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
That's a big help. Persona! Out of our way!
Get him, Makoto.
Queen!
Use this
Not
Here
over
goes.
yet!
Come! Inugami! You're mine.
Yes, we got him.
Finish him!
Another one bites the dust.
put it to good use. Whoa, a new move!
What a skill.
Where's Kaneshiro? I mean, there's only one place he could have went. He was in a hurry, but he left this behind. The journal. Let's see what lies inside. R equals C equals 0. I equals 1. The pages afterward have been torn out as well. Could it be a code of some sort? We're not going to figure this shit out now. We should just keep going forward, yeah? Considering Kaneshiro's reaction, this elevator should lead us to the innermost part of the bank.
Okay, let's go.
If so, it'll be the most secure area as well. Let's make sure we're ready whenever, or whatever awaits. Yep. I actually want to go back, because I want to figure out how to get to that will seed that was back there. I think I have to go this way to get there. I just don't want to fight that guy.
Be careful.
Oh.
There's a...
This one should be okay.
There's 2 enemies! Don't underestimate
Persona!
them!
Charge, Johanna!
Alright, Queen! This is our
Here
best
goes.
shot.
Pass the baton and
Come.
follow up!
Kopa Tengu! Ravage them! Persona!
What is he weak?
Inugami!
It has no physical weakness, so let's use
Oh,
an
it's just
emotional weapon.
not weak to anything.
Fear.
Okay.
There!
There's an enemy that's confused. Give it some psychokinesis. Let's do this!
He's alert.
Persona! Johanna!
Queen defeated an enemy!
Who am I supposed to be?
Persona! There!
Great! Nice move!
I am thou.
Scared?
Surprisingly tough.
An enemy's frozen! Let's shatter in one strike!
Don't know if we can do that, Morgana.
Take this!
So what?
Good one, Fox!
Persona! Persona!
Yeah, don't really have much other choice.
Yes, that's it.
Persona! Kopa Tengu! Go down!
Persona!
That's all of them! Not bad, Fox.
All according to
There we
plan.
go.
Nice work, team. Oh, an impressive skill.
Oh, nice. 2. Rage boost. Increases chance of inflicting rage. Oh, okay. This guy is just a really good debuffer actually now. Not bad.
All right.
And we'll take it.
I can still fight. But
Be okay. Come on, turn around. Turn around. Can't see me behind this chest.
Show me your true form!
Persistent child.
All right, the first move is ours.
Persona! Johanna!
All right, Queen.
Pass it off to On.
Use the
And
song.
then we can end this pretty
I'll
quick.
get 'em. Dance, Carmen!
Looking good, Panther.
Don't
2
resist.
falls on the ground.
Let's finish this!
Okay, guys, let's do it.
How's that?
okay. Child's play.
True and real. Okay. Oh. I do want to get that will seed, but I'm not exactly sure where to go for it. I think I'll just
There's a strong shadow ahead.
keep going down
We
for
should be
now,
careful.
and then I can go back for it later.
Hey, look!
Jeez.
What the hell? Are these all vaults? How messed up is this guy?
We're supposed to check all of these for the treasure?
Hold on. This distinct shape. Could it be...
The giant lock.
What's the matter?
If my prediction is correct, we won't need to check every single one of these small vaults.
For real?
That is...
Oh no.
I hope. I'll explain why once I've confirmed my theory. I seriously hope so too.
Get another for real to the counter. Go up to 48.
This feeling.
Nice. Safe room right there.
This is a nice spot for a safe room.
So true, on. So true.
Okay.
Alright, let's see.
Indeed.
People naturally gravitate towards wealth, but this is preposterous. Kidding. I'll get out of here. This scale is insane. Kanashiro's heart might be even more distorted than Komoshida's or Monораme's. Yeah, you don't say. Oh. The lock is currently engaged. Please enter the request pin.
What?
Pin, so... Is this gonna open one of the vaults? There's something written above the number pad on here. Rich. This is disgusting. How obsessed can one man be with his money? Wait, there might be something more to that. Do you think it is connected to the journal? Wow, Anna's actually using her brain. Let's go.
Indeed.
Let me think. If I remember correctly, it said R equals C. Oh. I'll figure it out.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to look at our belongings. Would that be under item?
Indeed.
Hold on. I didn't mean to.
Indeed.
So R equals C equals 0, so 0, 1, 0, 2. Nice and easy. What the? The whole vault moved. So my deduction may be correct. Money. I need money. I must grow richer. As long as I'm rich, anything will be possible.
Huh?
That voice. It's Kanoshira. Is he watching us? That doesn't seem to be the case. It sounds more like the voice of his heart. I guess all he really thinks about is money after all. He blackmails people out of their savings, and that's still not enough. What a douche. True, Ryuji. More importantly, the message in the journal was the pin code.
That aside.
Yes, it seems so, but I doubt it will be that easy from this point forward. The rest of the pages were torn out of the journal. Who knows what clues they may hold. Well, let's not get pessimistic. We should look around and try to find another clue. Time to head further in and find those pins. Foreign stamp.
Increase security. Catch
I see a really strong shadow. Watch out, Joker.
Yeah, let's not fight that. He's disappeared, okay.
Treasure chest spot.
Nice. Oh, that was close.
Two enemies. They're pretty strong.
Persona! Out of our way! Seems it can still fight.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, nice one,
Persona!
Panther.
Prepare yourself. It's tenacious.
Let's go!
Oh, nice.
Panther, this is
Do it.
all for you.
Come on! Here's a bonus. Excellent.
Great, huh?
Too slow.
All right, Joker. Very smooth.
Persona.
So sketchy when my
Orpheus Picaro.
team is so low on
I've got
health.
this.
Thanks.
Much thanks.
Thank you.
Only one more. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Surprisingly tough.
Oh.
An enemy Persona's in. Let's shatter it in one strike. Ah! You're on the floor. This is a holdup. You're the best, Panther.
There we go.
Okay, guys. Let's do it.
Still too easy.
Well, on to the next trial.
Yeah, victory.
All right.
All right, let's go.
Hey.
I know we already saw one of these earlier in the palace, but man, is it ugly. I mean, it's a golden piggy bank. Pretty obvious that money is the only thing in his mind.
Be careful. There's a.
Wait, don't tell me the strong Persona walked in here. Oh, whew. It did, but he spawned.
I'll reveal your true form.
That's a little scary.
Alright, Persona's move is off! The enemy's weak to ice.
Okay.
Let's take advantage of that.
Persona! Goemon, strike!
Ah, nice one, Fox.
Let's go. Goemon!
We're at that stage where I'm trying to save SP.
Don't move!
Everyone, with me!
This'll end it.
Persona! Ah! Oh, you want more?
Persona!
Oh no,
Jack Frost!
Not that.
I got nothing.
Let's see.
Yeah, okay. Guess I will use one
Using
of
it.
these. Nice. Oh, how was he able to counter one but not the other? Oh well.
If you oppose us, one defeated an enemy!
Sorry.
Joker's down. Who
No.
wants to avenge him with a double team attack? Fred's got knocked off
Oh my
balance.
goodness.
You have to recover. Joker.
There's no way.
No. Joker.
Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, that felt so cheap. Just because I was using the wrong persona.
What?
Turn to prior safe room. Yes. Okay.
Let's do it.
I think before I... Oh, wait. There we go. I want to try to merge some of my personas real quick before we go any further.
Do you need something?
You certainly seem composed.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
The inmate needs our guidance. Let's execute. Now choose.
I'm only level 22.
Not terrible, but not impressive.
Bonus XP, that's pretty good. Weak to wind. I don't think there's any enemies in here using wind except for the one
Select the skills you'd like to inherit.
Oni looking thing. It seems pretty good.
It will receive some new power. My.
Skip this. Looks pretty sweet.
You can't handle this. I see. A strong persona indeed. Select the skills you'd like to inherit.
Double counter damage. Giant slice. And
It will receive a fraction of power. My.
Level 24. Ooh, kill rush.
Not terrible, but not impressive.
I think I should be alright now with
Are
the
you
ones I got.
finished? What? No slacking off.
Hopefully, anyway. Just make sure not to go into Jack Frost against the dogs. Back to the vault.
And we're here. What do you want to do now?
Use an SP item. That's what I'm gonna do. Stretch. Thank you for the stretch. I need that actually. Oh, thank you for the posture check as well. Did a big stretch there.
Roger.
Alright.
What?
Indeed.
Should be.
Agreed. Indeed.
Right. 0, 1, 0. What the? The whole vault moved. Oh yeah, we've already gone through this.
That aside.
Okay. Back down here.
Be careful. There's a strong one. What should we do, Joker?
Not fight it.
A chest!
I'll reveal your true form.
Now's our chance to strike!
What were they weak to? Fight it. I don't wanna. I'm gonna die.
No holds barred! You couldn't finish it!
Let's go.
I have PTSD from the last time I fought one. Don't be a coward.
Not bad.
Now! Panther, this is all for you. Come on!
Pretty great, huh?
Let's go.
Oh, Panther took out the one that was full health. Nice. I suppose I'll fight it. Free level up. Yeah, I guess that's true. Nice.
Don't forget this feeling.
That new persona is pretty strong.
Victory.
Okay. Child's play.
Just to be safe though, I'm gonna get my guy's health back up. It's kind of low.
Shadow spotted. It's powerful, so let's be cautious.
Show me your true form.
Oh,
The first move is ours.
this one's not even that bad. Well, wait. Isn't this the same? Yeah, this is the same one that
Use
took
my
me out last
persona.
time, I think.
Finish it for me.
It's time. There.
Oh.
This is my other self. I lend it. Someone finish it.
An enemy's frozen. Let's shatter in one strike. Persona.
I have anything to lower its defense? Imagine getting destroyed a second time. It could happen.
What's my next move?
Raise attack for one ally.
Let's go.
This might be enough.
Cross. Slash.
Oh yeah, that does so much damage.
Yeah! Victory!
I've unlocked my new favorite persona.
It's a step forward.
This new skill suits me.
Okay. Very well.
Alright. Got through that. I do need to heal my guy every time I use it though, because it costs so much health. Not using a Sento also. Yeah. I guess I don't have to fight the dogs.
I'll reveal your true form.
Hello.
Now's our chance to strike. Persona. Go! Persona.
Shaz is still here. Maybe. Maybe not.
Let's go. I recommend attacking any enemy who has a status ailment.
But does she have second? Actually, I don't think it was. No, it wasn't Shaz who took second this time. She took first.
Some other way. Persona. Slash.
Oh, I care about that.
This is my other self. Goemon.
Guess who?
We got him on the ground.
No
I
sudden
knew you could do
movements.
it, Fox.
Now, let us strike!
Finish him!
Gotta be quicker next time, Pete. What can I say?
One enemy remaining. Persona! This is the last one. Nice job, Panther! No time to waste. We took them all out.
Okay.
Good work. Keep it up.
Oh. Is it in here? Surely it was, right? Gun is OP. Yeah, gun is for lazy people like me. Unless you're using the 9mm.
Joker.
We may have found the controls we've been looking for. Anything we can do here? Open up that door the camera's facing.
Yes!
Look, the shutter's gone. We can keep going now. Attention all guards, attention all guards. The rats have made their way to every floor. Tighten security at all levels. They must not proceed any further. Protect the golden pig at all costs.
Man.
Man, he seems really worked up. He must truly not want us gaining access to this golden pig.
You notice?
Well, I'm pretty sure that's one. Pretty sure that's one. Why does that? Hold on, sorry. Pretty sure that one there's the one he mentioned. Pretty suspicious if you ask me. Rats are a good pet. I just find mice at my work running around, so.
This is...
There's a note here. It says P equals 1. Wait, the edge is torn. Maybe it came from Kanashiro's journal.
Nice!
Oh, so that's a continuation of the code we found earlier. This should be useful. Oh. Reap. Isn't that like to harvest? Why would he have that as a password? That man sees people as walking ATMs. He must think of collecting money from them as a harvest.
How unsightly.
Kanashiro is truly run to the core. If this is the same kind of thing as before, the hints should help us find the password, right? We'll see about that. Why don't we check the information we have on hand? We don't have enough. I think we need the A still. Damn, that's a crazy password. We're gonna have to convert that into numerical digits, though. Oh. Surprise.
Look, a treasure demon! Persona!
Oh, nice.
Charge, Johanna! Alright, Queen! I'll use my persona! Johanna! Alright, Queen!
We love Makoto.
Use this opportunity! Pass the baton and follow up!
Thank you. That's great.
Carmen! Let's see that again, Panther! You've got it on to the second person!
It's time.
What was that
Something
treasure
else.
demon weak to? Needs more special
This one's
characters.
weak to psychokinesis.
Persona!
Goodness. Hold on, wait. Oh, yeah. So it's gonna be... Oh no. Wait, no. I traded it out. I don't have a weakness for it anymore.
This isn't it.
I got an item for it, don't worry. Nuclear.
Let's see.
Nope. Okay.
Using it.
Yeah, take that, you
There we go.
jewel tool!
What about our future together?
I implore you, please spare me.
What did you say?
No.
So rude.
Queen
This is my other self.
She's being too reckless!
Die! Too left.
Enemy down! Keep it going, Fox! Joker's losing his cool! He's getting too reckless! What's the matter? You're so gorgeous, Panther.
Shut up, Morgooner.
Victory is ours.
Nice work, team!
All right.
Alright, the skirmish is over.
Yep. Oops.
Joker, there's a chest!
Model gun. What did Doug do in Doe? That's a good question. Model gun capable of transmutation. Not sure what that's supposed to mean, but okay. Do I have enough code for this already?
What's up?
I don't remember how to look up the his journal. It's not in the items. Looks like that is the only area I can get to, but... yeah... I try not to use those if I can, like, figure it out on my own. It feels more rewarding when you do, but... Oh wait, there's another one down there. Okay, that's why. I totally missed it. How did I miss that?
Show me your true form.
That one is no joke. Be careful. Looks like a job
Yes.
for you. Pass the baton and
Let's go.
follow up.
Goemon.
Oh, nice one, Fox.
Get them.
Pass it on to the second person. Get him. He confirmed. You got their weakness,
Not moving
Panther.
muscle.
Let's finish this.
Got him.
This'll end it. Aren't we the best?
All right.
Easy peasy.
Child's play.
One page number 2. E is 9 and A is 3.
Nice.
Perfect. The more hints we have, the closer we are to solving the code. Come on, let's hurry over to the machine. Yeah, Morgana. Yep.
Joker.
I can't remember what the P was. I know it's
What's up?
Reaper, true.
Joker.
I mean, there is a way to translate it, but...
What's up?
Think it over? How do I... There's gotta be a way to get to the journal. Items. Oh. There's ways to move it over. I see. That makes it a lot easier. Okay. So P is 1. E is 9. A is 3. And then R is 0. So it'd be 0, 9, 3, 1. 9, 3, 1.
Joker.
0, 9, 3, 1. There it is.
Yes.
That sound. It seems like the vault has moved again. Alright, it worked. This isn't anywhere near your quota for this month. Don't give me your excuses, just go reap every last penny. This voice again. I'll make you understand if you don't get it. People who can't earn money are worthless to me. He's completely distorted. It looks like he really believes money is more important than human life. What a pitiful man.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's finish this quick. The door's probably opened up, so we should head back and check it out. What do you think, Joker? Should we go straight over to the vault? Yep. Get over there.
Yeah.
This is the second one. I wonder how many more there are. I'm sure we'll find out as we go. Let's keep moving to our next one.
Oh, a treasure chest. This is what thievery is about.
How do I even get to that?
I'll reveal your true form.
Alright, the first move is ours! Persona! Alright, Queen! It's yours!
This is mine.
Pass the baton and follow
Persona!
up. Enemy down! Keep it going, Fox!
Persona! Go down!
I am thou.
I am
Goemon!
thou.
Oh, nice one, Fox!
This is my other self. Take this! Last
Enemy
one.
down! Keep it going, Fox! Too slow! Alright, Queen! Beautifully done! Persona! Feel my rage! The enemy is annihilated! Queen,
Nice.
you're so awesome!
And just like that, we move on.
My persona learned a new skill.
Okay.
That's all it takes for me.
I'll reveal your true
I
form.
felt way too close.
Now's our chance to persona! Go! That's 2 on the floor! Go get him, Queen!
Have to use a SP item for Yusuke.
This should do.
What? It's time. There.
Persona!
Your defense is down!
Goemon, strike!
Oh, nice one, Fox.
No sudden movements.
Everyone, with me!
This'll end it!
No, I don't dream that.
You don't have choice.
Wait, it saved my life. Give me your power. That sounds like not a good dream.
Got a new mask, Joker.
I had a dream. Everyone banned me, Pete. I'm not gonna ban you.
All right.
But I will VIP you. Good old auto mode. Blocking it every time. Wait, how do I get up there? Oh. Yep. We go through this every time, I know. Oof. That's not
There's
good.
a treasure chest. Come, let's...
Hey, look at this!
This door seems different from the others. It's all gold and shiny. And there's also this weird pig. Maybe we should do some reconnaissance first? Good morning. This entrance is strictly for Konichiro Bank employees. For entry, please display your keycard and pay 10,000 yen. I get that employees would have to show their keycard, but you gotta pay too? That definitely ain't cheap.
I see.
So Konichiro open views his own employees as exploitative resources. I'm sure it'll make him a little money, but I doubt it'll amount to anything substantial.
What do you want to do?
Let's pay it.
For real?
Come on, really? God, what a waste. I gotta know what's back here. Oh. I had to come back here, okay. Let me get that treasure chest first. Also, Ryuji said for real again. Almost up to 50. That would make sense.
Oh!
Like how Fox tried to act like he wasn't interested, and then the second we open it, he's like, ooh, what's in it? Get over here now, I'm kind of curious. Shadow behind the door. Ooh,
I'll reveal your true form.
Alright, the first move is ours!
None of my team has any SP. This is not good.
I'll use my persona! How's this?
Oof.
Let's go. Jikokutan!
Not this.
No, that's right.
Persona! I lend it! Surprisingly tough.
An enemy's frozen! Let's shatter it in one strike! Go!
Nice. There we go.
Persona!
Pretty much.
It's time. Move.
have anything that does.
Ravage them!
Looking cool, Joker!
Do it!
Alright, Roger! Pass the baton and follow up! Ha! Clean hit!
Ah. Come on, you failed me.
I am thou.
Enemy down! Keep it going, Fox! Go!
So, here it comes.
Joker's down.
Oh no.
Who wants to avenge him with a double team attack? Take that!
So,
Alright, time for a
Persona.
counterattack!
Go down!
so.
Persona!
Close.
Die!
Get him, Yusuke.
You gotta aim!
How is he gonna
We can't let
miss?
Joker die! Come on!
I can't with Yusuke. He failed me.
Pretty great, huh? Sound good? Everyone, watch your health.
Well,
There we go.
on to the next trial.
That was a bad
Spectacular
fight.
victory.
I mean, it doesn't help
Okay.
that none of my teammates have any
You're not too
SP.
tired after that, are you? Don't fall behind.
Set up, Morgana. There we go. Eh,
Show me your true form!
that was close.
I actually have plans.
Not bad.
The first move is ours! Persona!
What does Morgana even do?
How's this?
Nothing on my team.
It's time. You're mine.
Joker took one out! Alright!
Persona! Take this!
Yeah, he was just a cat mascot, really.
Underestimated you kids.
What are they weak to?
Let's do this! Weak against nuclear attacks?
They should die from fire.
Now, let's continue!
A spectacular victory!
Yeah, Morgana is just kind of there at this point.
All right.
I guess he's our transportation every once in a while.
Okay. I could have handled that myself. Shadow spotted. Its strength is unlike the others.
Hmm.
Come on over, idiots. Come this way. I'll bash your skulls
I
in.
want to fight it, but I just don't have the SP on my team right now. Guess do that. Use my last ones.
I'll reveal your true form.
Hey, he's just be cool.
Now's our Persona! Go!
Okay,
Oh,
Persona!
that's probably all it's gonna
You're
take.
mine.
Oh.
This is my other self.
It's tenacious.
Trinket split.
an enemy frozen!
I don't know
Shatter
about
it in one
that.
strike! Persona! Ready when you are. Hey! Persona!
Actually, don't want her to do anything.
Come! Go down!
We're all knocked down! That was incredible, Joker! This'll end it!
All yours!
Here you go on. Use your terrible
Let's go.
acting riz to stop him from
Prepare
doing anything.
yourself.
I guess, I don't know.
Surprisingly tough.
Get ready! Ha!
Let's go. Izanagi! There!
Oh, I forgot. That doesn't work.
Yeah, nice one, Panther! Let's go! Do us proud!
Hearing Persona for 3 hours straight should be a team torture.
Go! Fox got shot! He can't move!
Do be like that.
Get a hold of yourself! All enemies defeated.
On to the next
What I
triumph.
expect from you, Joker.
I wonder if there's a way to like.
What
Look
a
up.
stylish power.
I want to lower the sound of just them saying Persona. Hey, increases evasion from physical attacks. Man, this Persona is really good though.
I'd like to try this skill soon.
Okay.
Phew, the battle's over. Okay, let's get going.
What?
Oh.
Who are these rats?
Show me your true form.
Persistent child.
Now's our chance to strike! Go! Persona!
All that shouting made them crazy. Perhaps it did.
Johanna! That's 2 on the floor! Go get him, Queen!
I mean, I do have to say, I prefer the stuff that's outside of the palaces. Like, the palaces are okay. But I like the banter between the characters more.
Don't 2 balls on the ground! Do it with style! Finish him! How's that?
Okay.
Huh. That was an easy battle.
This is bullshit.
Let's go through it. B equals P, which is 1.
What? Who are these rats? What? Who are these rats?
Let me just go through all of the all of the cameras and just make my security level really high. Yeah. That's pretty common in a lot of, I feel like JRPGs in general do that. Fortunately. Oh. So I could have just went that way and not paid the 10,000 yen? That's crazy. Okay, whatever. Hugs. It says huge, you moron. Can you even read? Come on, Ryuji. Bro. We'll need to transpose this one into numbers too. I hope we can do that with the hints we have. Huge. Okay. Ryuji's such an idiot. That's funny. Oh, do we have H? Oh yeah, H is 2, so 2, 3, 1, 9, 2, 3, 1, 9. 2, 3, 1, 9. There we go. Of course he can't read. Yeah, I know.
Yes!
Great, it looks like the vault opened up. Even more now. Well then, we should keep...
This is bullshit.
This isn't enough. I need to have a huge presence. What now? I'm done having other people walk all over me. It's my turn now.
You are unforgivable.
He is beyond redemption. It seems he cares not for those he tramples upon himself. Every step we take is strengthening my resolve. Let's push onward. Yep, let's head back.
Yeah.
Check it out. This one's open for us now, too. This movement, there can be no doubt. This entire floor is a cylinder of a lock. What do you mean? Can you explain that a little more? The cylinder is a mechanism that judges if a key is the proper shape. If you use the correct key and all the discs align, the lock opens.
Indeed.
Now that you mention it, while the walls rotate, the path forward has remained facing the same way. You're saying the whole floor is just one giant lock? That's right. All of the smaller vaults in here aren't important. There has to be an area further in, locked away by the room itself.
All right, let's go.
That's where the treasure's gotta be. Sweet, let's get going. Oh. That looks like it's gonna be a tough fight. Hold on, I might actually want to swap out.
Let's take a break.
I'm gonna change out Yusuke for Ryuji.
Joker. Huh? Yeah.
Only because he has full SP. And well, Yusuke might actually be better to keep than on, because he has 47. Sorry, I gotta...
What is the matter?
Use the right team for this moving forward.
I understand.
There we go. Can use Morgana to heal me.
Nice.
Another one of those jerks? What's it doing here? Look behind it. Another button device. The shadow must be protecting it.
What do you want to do?
Yep, let's take it down. You guys must be the rats we've been hearing about. Well, Mr. Kaneshiro ordered me to absolutely not let anyone pass this point. Except your death. Jeez, that is a scary looking horse. Life-draining spirit.
Persona! Out of our way!
Let's get this
Persona! Ravage them!
What's wrong?
I am thou.
Scared?
Whoa! That's how true
Hey.
fantasy is doing.
What the persona?
Nice.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
I'll use my persona! Okay,
Oh, that actually worked. I'm surprised.
Persona! All right.
Let's go. Prepare yourself.
Come on. Let's get this
Persona!
Come on, Ryuji.
persona!
Let's go.
Persona. Cross. Slash.
Oh, that's so easy. That ability is so strong. I just need to work on getting his health up more so he can do multiple of those without worrying about getting one tapped after. This one doesn't have a password or anything. I guess that's why the shadow was protecting it. Doesn't seem to require any keys, but there are buttons on the left and the right of the box.
Hey, hey!
There must be a reason that thing was guarding it. Let's try and figure out why. Ah. I see. Okay. The right one more time.
Joker! Oh! Let's go.
It seems...
Same as the device before. Oh.
Joker!
Okay. I get it now.
Joker!
Oh wait, no. I don't even need to do that. Okay. Or wait.
Joker!
Hold on. Onto it. Let me look at the map. No, that should be right, actually, I think.
Joker!
There we go. I can get around on the inside of the final ring. There we go. How much more of the palace is there? Turn around.
Show me your true form.
It's blocking my path forward like that.
This is a bit underhanded.
That one is no joke. Be careful.
Why is there so many of them? Holy.
Persona!
That was my bad.
Persona. It's time. All right. This is my other self. Die! Surprisingly tough.
That did not work.
Here it comes.
Are you even
Good one,
trying? Whoa!
Guess you are good for something, Skull.
Whoop 'em, Persona! Let's go, Captain!
Get it, Skull!
Give me a break.
Persona! Ha!
Persona.
An enemy defeated! Skull, give me more!
How's this?
Four left. Hang in there. Persona!
I think I do it on just one and then pass it over to...
Nice one. They're at your mercy. All right, Queen. Beautifully
Oh
done.
no.
Give me a break.
Let's go. Go down.
I didn't even need to use that.
Marvelous. Oh, nice. It exploded.
Well,
That works though.
on to the next triumph.
Nice work, team.
Okay.
Makoto, level
I could
25.
have handled that
Let's go.
myself.
Gosh, this vault is massive. Every time I think I'm getting close, it's like, no, actually, there's a little bit more.
Isn't that...
The security appears much tighter here. Based on how this looks, we're going to have to find a bunch of power boxes. Yeah. Fortunately, See that camera there.
We will be counting on you.
What do you want to do?
Okay. There's so many dogs here.
As long as I'm here, no intruder will ever get past me.
Trying to... Can I not hide on the other ones? Yeah, I guess I'll have to fight this dog. I was really trying not to, but...
Wow, that shadow was crazy!
It's time. No.
How you corner me?
Oh, I don't have,
This one, surprisingly tough.
That did not work.
Persona! Eat this!
I've realized Ryuji kind of sucks for this fight. Like, just the enemies in this palace are not great for him.
Fox got knocked off balance!
Oh.
You have to recover!
Oh, I haven't had a hostage situation yet. For the first time. You want to save your friend? Listen to what me say. Me want your health. Let me drain some. All the Thieves Guild.
What?
You coward.
An enemy's burning! Follow up with wind to deal major damage! Enemy down!
Defeated an enemy! Oh, nice! It exploded! Fox is
You
on
scared,
fire!
please.
That's going to keep hurting him! Flash! Joker took one out! Alright!
It's time. Ravage them!
How undignified.
It's time to turn the tables!
Goemon, strike!
Descend.
You losers.
Nice work, team!
Okay.
Well, this way!
Oh, finally. Still need to get the other one though. Gonna. I get to. Oh. The old trick, I guess.
Let's go! Enemies! Let's do it!
Run away and then don't let them ambush you.
Persona! Charge, Johanna! That's two on the floor. Go get him, Queen! Persona! Use this opportunity. Pass the baton and follow
Persona!
up.
Cross!
Joker took one out. All right.
It's time. Persona! Die!
That's all of them.
Don't forget this feeling.
A spectacular victory.
Here we go.
Whoa, badass!
Okay. Child's play.
And how do I get to that last one? Where is the last one, actually? Wrong button. Maybe there's another hook somewhere else. I see it. Here. How do you get up there? I don't know. Like, you would think it would be something like this, where the other one was, but... Like, there's a vent there, but... Oh.
I found a chest. What do
I
you
don't
want
know
to do,
why
Joker?
I didn't just jump in the middle
Oh.
earlier. So obvious. Oops.
This way. All right.
Yeah, activated the bars. Finally get the code.
This is...
O plus H equals 10. We're getting into calculations now, good grief. It's but simple math, Morgana. Just don't let On do it.
Dude!
This is nuts.
I see.
Walking around the palace, I don't see anything that he seems to have spent it on.
This is...
Perhaps all he wants to do with it is hoard it. Now's not the time for this discussion, though. Let's keep going.
Hey!
Hey, look at that.
Yes!
It's a clue thing.
Man!
And isn't that the power for the bars? Oh, you're right. We can't go it this way. Guess we'll just have to look for a different path.
Careful. I saw a shadow.
What do you want to
20,000.
do?
Thanks.
20,000 yen is so much. For the 10,000 I could stomach, but 20,000 is
Punch someone.
a
Don't
lot.
care.
My God, that shadow! I want to punch someone. Oh. All right, got the cameras off at least. Like that, and there we go.
Treasure chest spotted.
Yeah, I think we can wait for the dog and then we can go.
We can surprise it.
No. I think it would be safer to just wait to jump. There we go. Alright, so got that down. Oh. we get up there though? Oh, right here. Way better than putting the money in to get into this room. L equals U plus G. D equals G. This looks like algebra or something. I'm getting confused. This is really simple addition. Even if it was algebra, they're in high school. They should know how to do basic algebra by now. Okay. Go through here. This is put us. Oh. I don't want to see what that grappling hook's got. Here. Oh, that's how. Like, how do I get up there? But I see it now.
Treasure chest spotted.
All that for one snow or snuff soul. Oh wait. Want to know what's in here?
What do you want to do?
Whatever, I'm paying it.
For real?
Probably gonna be nothing useful. Oh, are you kidding me? Also, there's another for real, so we're up to 50. So yeah, I just wasted 20 grand. Whoops. It be like that sometimes. That. Alright, time for some math. And this is our fourth pin. The code this time is gold. That's pretty straightforward. Expect it's the same pattern as we followed so far. Okay. Gold. Item. B equals P. So it's 1. Hold up. O plus H equals 10. L equals U plus, or, yeah, U plus G. U is A. G is P, so it'd be 3 plus. Okay, so if the third number is 4. Why must they make me think? And then D equals G. G equals P, so it's 1 something 4 1. H equals 2. Okay. So O is 8. So it's 1841. If that's right.
Hey.
Oh wait.
Yes.
I might have messed up. What was D? Okay, no wait, no. Okay, yeah, we're good. Should be that.
Hey.
1 8 4 1. Nice. Let's go. We're finally in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got it right again. This cold sheen. Again? This is the fruit of all my hard labor.
What was that?
He thinks robbing people is something to celebrate. That guy needs to get his brain checked. With this much, I will become invincible, omnipotent. I've changed. I'm no longer the person I used to be. The person he used to be. What could have happened to make him so distorted? I don't know, but no matter what kind of past he had, his actions are unforgivable.
You're right.
Now, if my deductions are accurate, that should have been the final mechanism. Alright then, let's head back and
What
check
do
the
you
vault.
want to do?
Head straight there. We're finally in. Hey, this is an elevator, yeah? So, a way down really did show up. You're like some kind of prophet, Queen. It's mostly thanks to that notebook. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for that. More importantly, did you hear all those things Shadow Kanoshiro was saying? Oh yeah, I was wondering about that. Didn't he seem kind of insecure or something? Exactly, he kept bringing up how rich and powerful he wants to be. So if he's insecure about that shit, he thinks it's really just some poor weakling? Huh. Maybe by thinking he was going to be strong, wealthy man, he convinced himself it was true.
No.
I wonder. Well, we will discover the truth for ourselves when we change his heart. Let us hurry, Joker.
Found it. It's right here.
Oh, we
I
finally
don't
did
see
it.
anything.
Once we get this far, we need this calling card thing.
A calling card. I see.
Just glad we
Making
got it
the
finally.
target believe that the treasure is in danger will cause it to materialize. That's quite a bold trick.
Huh? She understood?
Joker, we'll defer to you regarding its timing.
Okay, guys, let's get ready for the heist.
Easy.
The next time we enter that treasure room will be after we send out the calling card.
In the end, that Kaneshiro bastard only showed his stupid face once.
That doesn't matter. As long as we steal the treasure, we'll change his heart.
Then let's act as the Phantom Thieves should and send the calling card. It's on you, Joker.
If you wish to train or explore further before sending it, that decision is purely yours.
Yeah. I do want to go back and get those will seeds, but I think I'm actually going to call it here for today just because I am getting sleepy and I have to get up early for work.
How about we take a break here?
No. Okay.
I should write something.
Save. And let's see. Is anyone streaming that I can rate? I think I'm actually gonna just sleep raid today, so thank you all for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. I'm gonna be taking tomorrow off from streaming just because I'm gonna have a very busy day, but I should be live again on Friday, so hopefully I'll see you then. Alrighty, have a good rest of your evening, everyone, and I will see you next time. Alright.